On behalf of RBCS, RBCS New Zealand, RBCS Australia, and Software TestWorks, we welcome everyone today to this webinar on test reporting for impact. I'm Rex Black, president of RBCS, a worldwide testing and quality assurance firm serving clients ranging from small startups to Fortune 20 companies. Since 1994, RBCS has been both a pioneer and leader in quality hardware and software testing. RBCS has offices in the United States, New Zealand, Australia, and Sri Lanka, with partners around the world. RBCS delivers insight and confidence to our clients, helping them get quality software and hardware products to market on time and with measurable return on investment. RBCS has a team of international consultants that deliver customized training, consulting, and outsourcing services for companies that are looking to improve their test and quality assurance practices. RBCS has helped hundreds of companies reduce development and support costs while assuring the best quality products are delivered to customers. I'm the author of Pragmatic Software Testing, Advanced Software Testing Volumes 1 and 2, Foundations of Software Testing, Critical Testing Processes, and Managing the Testing Process. I hold a degree in Computer Science and Engineering from UCLA. I'm also past president of International Software Testing Qualifications Board and the American Software Testing Qualifications Board. Before we start the presentation, a couple of housekeeping notes. If you have any questions during the course of the webinar, please feel free to submit them throughout the presentation via your webinar interface. There's no need to ask for presentation copies, as the presentation will be on the web at www.rbcs-us.com. If you are having problems with either the audio or visual components of this webinar, please contact GoToWebinar support. If for whatever reason you cannot get to the webinar online, or if you're dealing with an unreliable connection, please download the slides from the basic library at www.rbcs-us.com and be sure to use the telephone to connect rather than voice over IP. Please note that the December and January webinars will be rescheduled slightly due to some minor conflicts. The times will stay the same because those seem to work for most people, but the days are going to move around just a bit. If you're already signed up, you'll get an email update from GoToWebinar. In fact, you might have already gotten them. If you sign up after the change, and the change has already occurred, you should see the right date and time when you sign up, so don't worry about that. Finally, please accept my apologies for my scratchy voice, my occasional coughs and sneezes, and runny nose. I have a miserable cold, which I've managed to pick up now just in time to start an 8-week international trip. So on with the show. Today's presentation is on test reporting for impact. So one of the key skills that a test leader or manager must have is that of reporting test results. And doing that right is really hard. I've struggled with it as a test manager, and I know a lot of our clients do too. So this is not, if you're having trouble with it, it's not you. It's the task. It's a hard task. It's essentially complex. So in this presentation, I'll go through some of the fundamentals of test reporting so that you can deliver information that really enlightens and influences your stakeholders. Okay, so we'll cover some key test reporting concepts. We'll talk about test status reporting. We'll talk about test analysis reporting, and we'll talk about some best practices in reporting to close. So, testing by itself has no value. The act of poking and prodding the system to see what happens is not something that has any intrinsic value in it. But it does, potentially, it's done right, produce valuable information that could be valuable to people if it's delivered in the right way, if it's communicated effectively. If it's communicated ineffectively, the value can be lost. So, when we're communicating, one of the things that we need to do is we need to think about our audience. Who are the people who, to whom we are communicating? So we don't understand our audience, and we can't possibly understand what their ability to grasp a topic is. Do they have sophisticated understanding of testing and what we're doing and quality and so forth, or are they fairly unsophisticated, and do they need things explained fairly simply? They'll tend to vary. Another thing is that we need to understand our goals, our communication goals. So, if you were writing a novel or something, one of your goals would be to entertain. Of course, typically we don't want to entertain. Typically in test reporting, there are two or three of three things apply. Either we want to notify somebody of something, we want to make them aware of something that's happening. So we could say, well, as you see in this chart, we have 24 bugs remaining to be closed. We might want to enlighten somebody. We might say, we have a very high rate of bug report confirmation test failures. So when the bug reports come back to us, we run a confirmation test. That confirmation test fails, then we reopen the bug report. We have to deal with it all over again. That's inefficient. We shouldn't be doing that. Let's look for ways to not do that. And we also might try to influence. So in the notification, we're explaining what's happening. And in enlightenment, we're trying to explain why it's happening. In influence, we're trying to change to make the why that is happening stop happening, so that the what that is happening will subside or at least become less intense. So we could say, we would like to propose a bug triage meeting. We go through the 24 bugs and decide which ones really do need to be fixed and which ones we really are perfectly happy to live with, which will allow people to focus and perhaps do better bug fixes. So these are common goals. Now, what do we do as test managers? Well, one of the things that we need to do is report test status, and that tends to be a fairly regular activity. Daily project status meeting, weekly project status meeting, something like that. So we need to have an ability to do that. Provided that everything's going according to plan, that is going to be primarily notification in our test status reporting, or regular test status reports. But once things stop going to plan, then there's some analysis will start to have to probably be provided, which then gets into the enlightenment and influence realms. Okay, so let's start with test status reporting, because after all, this is probably the most common thing that we need to think about. Well, hopefully the most common. What do we have to cover in a test status report? Well, the wrong answer is whatever our test management software will give us, because that is going to simultaneously be too much and too little information. What are some things that we would need to worry about? Well, let's see. What's the current quality of the system under test? And maybe we'll look at that in terms of number of bugs that we're finding, number of bugs that remain to be fixed, those sort of things. Are we getting through our tests? Are we making progress according to our planned set of tests? Are we getting to where we would expect to be getting to? Are we proceeding efficiently? Because our efficiency can be seen as a early warning of the efficiency that the end user will experience. If we can run our tests, especially if those tests are based on use cases, typical things that customers do, the product, then the customers should be able to as well. Excuse me. If we cannot run our tests, then we're blocked and so forth, we're inefficient, then we would expect that would affect our customers as well. And then finally, do we test what we said we were going to test? This concept of the test basis, some of you probably heard me use this phrase on previous webinars, with the test basis. The test basis is just simply that which your tests are based upon. And have we tested all that? If you're doing requirements-based testing, have you covered the requirements? If you're doing risk-based testing, have you covered the risks? It's quite possible that things could look good in terms of quality and progress and efficiency, but maybe we're testing the wrong things. And this is actually a fairly